Welcome in to Lone Peak High School for KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week. Coming to you live on KSLSports.com and, of course, Lone Peak football brought to you by Heidemann Associates and presented by G2G Bar. The Lone Peak Knights starting 1-2 on the season. Week 4 is here. They're at home as they prepare to take on the undefeated 3-0 Mountain Ridge Sentinels. Thank you for joining us, everyone. My name is Dane Stewart. Please be joined by Moose Bingham. Moose, interesting matchup tonight. First matchup ever between these two programs. Look, we got some guys that are up and coming. We got some guys that are established. Should be a fun one tonight.
This will be a really interesting game. I'm very excited because Lone Peak, even though they're 1-2, I put out a poll going into this game. I said, I don't care about the analysts. I don't care about anyone else. I care about the fans. Where do you guys think this game will be? 75% of the fans said that Lone Peak would be the winner of this game. And I'm not going to argue against that. Lone Peak has a lot of great players. Bob Muitolo, they've got the Mayberry brothers. They've got phenomenal players scattered throughout this team that we'll talk about. But Mountain Ridge, they're no slouches as well. They've got a great defensive end in Kendall Wall, all of 6'6", 205. They've got a good quarterback in Bingham Wyatt, who's 6', 165, the sophomore. But Samisi Kinney is what this team runs through on offense and defense. He had an interception last week, Taylor Higham as well. But this team is really led by Brody Laga, the BYU commit, the hefty lefty, the leg. They may even call him Legolas because he is that crazy accurate and big with the ball. He's going to be starting the game out for us with the ball going through the posts.
As the opening kickoff underway, it is shy of the post, Moose. Boy, your prognostication. You better dial that in there.
He got under that ball. I'm going to be really critical. He didn't take his right steps. He stuttered. And even with stuttering, it went about 8 deep, which is ridiculous.
Look, he got underneath the ball. It was way too high, and thus it was only 8 yards deep in the end zone. Things to work on if you're, Laga. But that's okay. We can get there. Lone Peak's going to start with the football. And Jackson Blake, starting quarterback, senior, week number 4. What have you seen from Jackson this year? What do you expect from Jackson here tonight? As they'll hand off on first down. This is Wild. Nice carry up the middle there for Brooks Wild.
Jackson Blake, I have a lot of expectations for. He's finally getting into the rhythm. He's had games where he started out really hot against Timpview, and then he's had games where he came out a little bit cold. Second half last week against Corner Canyon is the Jackson Blake that I come to know and love. He's had a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde situation, but when he gets calm, when he gets cool, when he gets collected, there's no one better than Jackson Blake. And he's got Trey Robinson on the side in Mayberry as well.
They'll stay on the ground here on second down. This is Wild again with the carry. He'll pick up 6 yards on a first down. I love that you talk about Mayberry's because, week 1, it was Jashawn Mayberry who jumped onto the scene. He was a down-the-field threat, speedy wide out, just a sophomore. You've got Jaden as well. And then, of course, a lot of other guys, Trey Robinson and others. There's a plethora of options for Blake at the quarterback position.
Yeah, the Mayberries, I like them a lot. Their dad played in the NFL at the Ravens, I believe, and he was also an MLB player. But the Mayberries are a great family, and I really like them utilizing Brooks Wild, establishing the run game early.
Here's the first throw, and that was just a little bit low, intended there for Wild, incomplete. It's one of the things, looking at this game, I felt like they, week 1 against Bingham, they ran the ball pretty well. Lone Peak did. Brooks Wild averaging 4 yards a carry. Do we see them try to establish that ground game a little bit more and help Jackson maybe get in the rhythm of the game a little bit earlier and see if that can help with some of that consistency?
Well, the nice thing is the offensive line at this point is at full strength. You've got Payback at left tackle, one of the premier players in the entire country at his position.
I thought you meant Payback like he had a grudge or something, as this was Wild on the carry and bursting through was Taylor Higham. You talked about he had an interception last week for this Mountain Ridge defense. Higham has been really strong for the Sentinel D.
Higham is a great player. He was one of my underclassmen of the year last year. He does so much for their team. Number 0, 6 foot, 205. He is a monster, and he's getting bigger. He's getting better. He's just a junior, but he plays like a senior possessed.
3rd and 9 here for Lone Peak on this opening drive. Shotgun formation for Blake. He'll look to throw. A little bit of zone coverage there, and Blake looking down the field, has a man wide open, and that ball is caught across the 50, and it is Logan Hoffhines, the senior, with the reception. First down, Lone Peak into Mountain Ridge territory.
The crazy thing about this Lone Peak team, you're going to see new kids every single year just cycling through because they have so many kids. You look at the Lone Peak sideline, it is filled from end to end, and a lot of these kids have waited their whole life to play their senior year, and Hoffhines, the receptor on that one, did a phenomenal job finding the soft spot in the zone. I like how Blake used his legs, widening out, keeping his eyes downfield, and taking what the defense gives him. Veteran moves right there by the quarterback.
First down here for Lone Peak. Blake back to the ground here with Wild, trying that right side. Brooks able to drag a defense there for a couple yards, and Brooks Wild picking up 6.
When you've got a great defensive line, sometimes, especially those edge rushers, sometimes running right at them can kind of neutralize them. They can't pin their ears back. They can't go after your quarterback when you're running. They got to think a little bit. They're like, are they going to run? Are they going to pass? What's going to happen? And I like this balanced approach by Lone Peak.
Yeah, second down and 4 here. And they'll stay again with Wild. Boy, that's a nice burst through the lane there. Jackson Brown, the 6 foot, 230-pound sophomore, able to come up and make the stop.
What I've been impressed with Coach Mayfu is the talent of the coaching staff around him. Their defensive line coach is phenomenal. I've met a few of the other coaches, and he's put an all-star staff around him. That's what the old Region 4 teams have done, put a great staff around him, and that's what Lone Peak's done. But Mountain Ridge is on the up and up, and we've seen the population shift to that side of the valley. I think Mountain Ridge is a contender in the next few years.
Another third and short here. Moose had a family reunion down on the field with that Mountain Ridge coaching staff before the game. But right now, that defense trying to get off the field. Lone Peak going to go again with, well, on the ground. This was not Wild. This was actually Gabriel Tom with the carry. And a first down for Lone Peak to the 23.
This way, they're just getting their chunk yard plays. They're trusting their offensive line. And the offensive line is really impressive right now with what they're doing. This is a big old group. And after facing Corner Canyon, they're like, we may not be facing the type of talent that we had this last year. This is a bit of a younger team, and Mountain Ridge hasn't quite seen a team like Lone Peak this year yet.
Yeah, we'll talk about that Mountain Ridge schedule. And look, I mean, Mountain Ridge has been dominant. We'll talk about that when the offense comes out on the field, whatever that is. But this has been an impressive opening drive for Lone Peak. They'll look to throw. Blake looking outside. Boy, that's a tough throw. Incomplete. Was looking there for Trey Robinson, but boy, there was all sorts of coverage there.
Yeah, Trey Robinson. Blake threw it just about the only place you could. In that window, sometimes you see a window that's as big as a house. That window, I don't know if a mouse could fit through that one.
Yeah, that one was not even a bathroom window. That was tiny. There was not a lot of room there. 2nd and 10 here for Jackson Blake in this Lone Peak offense. Go back to the ground. Wild looking for that lane. Able to make a couple tacklers and miss. Brooks Wild out to the edge. A pickup of 9 for Brooks Wild. And Lone Peak is in the red zone.
Wild is really coming into his own. He's a phenomenal wrestler. His dad's actually one of the wrestling coaches at Lone Peak. And what I like about Brooks is he's got patience, he's got vision, and he attacks when he needs to, and he holds back when he doesn't. He gets north and south very quickly, and he grabs the yards that he can. That's why he's getting 4 yards a carry. Even when the holes aren't there, he creates them by being patient.
Well, and you have to realize, that 4 yards carry is gone against Bingham, Timpview, and Corner. So, there's pretty good defenses he's ran against. There's a flag here thrown in on the play. Don't know if you caught it. I saw it. There's a little bit of movement there. An early step back up front is going to penalize Lone Peak. And, boy, that messes up the schedule they were on. Rather than a 3rd and 1, now looking at 3rd and 6.
4 yards a carry is amazing against those teams. I don't know if I could get 4 inches a carry against those types of teams and the type of caliber. This is the first team that they're encountering that has more of a sophomore, junior type base filling the routes.
Look at this, Wild into the slot. It's 5-man formation looking deep, and that was behind the intended target. Incomplete. Boy, Cameron Wood was looking for a big play defensively. Just couldn't quite get there. Will bring up a 4th down.
Yeah, when they go 5 wide, Lone Peak likes to do that, an empty backfield, zero formation, and it's fun to see what they do with that because do you have enough defensive backs to match up against our speed? And that's what I like about this Lone Peak offensive staff. They're brilliant, they're really smart, and they do a lot of good things.
Play clock here down to 12, a late move here. They are going to come out and try for the field goal. This is going to be a 37-yard attempt here for the Knights. They got to hurry. That play clock down to 2, down to 1. They do get it off. The kick is up. It's got the distance, but it is good. Boy, I thought that was going to be wide. No, it is good, and Lone Peak is on the board 3-0.
How dare you doubt my boy Adam Connors coming in here at all of 5'8", 150 pounds. Got in there. He got under the ball, but I like it when kickers go out there and they're rushed. It lets you go back down to your technique, to your form, and you don't get to think as much. It's really a fun situation to be in there. And getting 3 on the board is a good situation. I know Blake wanted to throw the ball another time, but I think the head coach made a great choice right there.
Yeah, probably a good choice. We do want to thank our sponsors, of course, G2G, helping busy people eat well when they're on the go. Fresh, healthy, and delicious. When you eat one, you'll know G2G Bar.
Good to go bars. I ate those at BYU all the time.
Yeah?
Yeah, they're delightful. I almost had 2
Ringing endorsement from Moose Bingham.
Yeah.
What more could you want?
One of their reps over the state is Ben Cahoon.
Ah.
Little do you know it, for those that followed BYU, he was a 2-time wide receiver coach and like a 200-time CFL player of the year.
How about that?
He's known as the Jerry Rice of the CFL.
This kick into the end zone. Of course, he probably had, those 10-yard running starts. That certainly helps, right? I'm just kidding. I love the CFL, actually. I think it's great.
CFL is a really entertaining game.
Really entertaining. So, hey, we get our first look now at the Mountain Ridge offense. We talked about, well, you alluded to it, Samisi Kini. Best running back in the state, potentially. He's certainly up there.
Yeah. So I have 2 classifications of running back, big back and speed back. Samisi Kini, so nice. They named the young man twice. But you love seeing him out there. I don't see him right now. I see Jesus Hernandez taking the carry.
First down, they do look to run it. A gain there of 2. Not a ton of room there for Hernandez up the middle.
The interesting thing about Samisi Kini, I remember watching him as a sophomore coming in for the running back that went to Cal. And I was like, who's this sophomore? What's going on? And he had more heart than just about any kid I've seen running his nose into a brick wall, basically. That was Riverton.
On second down, they'll stay with Hernandez. Looking up that left side. Hand in the dirt there, trying to stay ahead, able to pick up another pair. Kini's one of the kids where there's a lot of careers where it's like, holy cow, that kid's already graduated. You got to be kidding me. Kini feels like the guy who's been there for years. And everyone's like, is this kid about to graduate? Because he's been a defensive terror. Like, he just such a good player. And it just feels like his career has been really long there.
With Kini, he plays both sides of the ball. He's in now, number 38. You love to see him. It looks like he's in pass pro, though.
A third down, and it's going to be a timeout taken here by Mountain Ridge as Coach Mayfu was trying to get the offense orchestrated the way he wanted. Quick timeout here. A big third down for this Lone Peak defense when we come back. You're watching Lone Peak football on KSL Sports Rewind, presented by Heidemann Associates. Welcome back. Third down. This Lone Peak defense trying to cheer on, get an early 3 and out. Here's Bingham rolling to his right. A lot of room. Eyes down the field. Bingham to throw. That caught, but it is going to be short. Coverage was there by Jaden Mayberry, and it will bring up a 4th down here for Mountain Ridge.
It's interesting to see what they're going to do here because it seems as if they're the underdogs, but Brody Lagan, number 1, the leg is coming in here.
Look, here's the thing. I'm a little disappointed in Coach Mayfield. I asked him before the game, where are you comfortable kicking this from? And he didn't give – he was like, anywhere? Come on, man. I mean, this is your chance for a 90-yard field goal, and we're not – what are we doing?
You know what? It's not a bad idea because he can at least kick it to the end zone.
That's all you got to do. Oh, that one looks like deflected. So
oh, you got hit, though.
There's no flag. This ball is going to roll out of bounds at the 46, and Lone Peak will have great field position coming out at their own 45-yard line.
So what happened on that kick? Brody Lagan, not a natural puncher. He's rolling out, and he has the ball, instead of facing down 5 degrees with the bottom of the ball facing forward, he had the ball flat. When you have the ball flat and you're rolling out, it can have a tendency to be pushed out to the outside and coming off the side of your foot. So he needs to fix that in the future.
That's why you got to learn how to use a protractor. People laugh, but you want 5 degrees. There's no better way, Moose. Pull out the old protractor, measure it, drop it, kick it. That's how we did it back in my day.
Yeah.
So Lone Peak starting at the 45 after the short punt. Just over 5 minutes to go here in our opening quarter, and we've got a delay coming here. Oof. Oof.
The offensive coordinator is not happy about that one.
Yeah, no one's happy about that one.
Hey, it could be worse. They could have the same jersey number out there twice.
Did that happen recently?
I guess so. Heard one or two things about that.
So Lone Peak will start 1st and 15 here after the penalty. Blake looking, taking a shot down the field. Oh, just overthrew. Boy, you got a hand on it. Trey Robinson. Boy, that close, Moose.
Trey Robinson has really impressed me. Going into the season, a lot of people were like, we got this number 10. You got to come check him out. I'm like, all right. I'm impressed.
Yeah. I thought he was going to make that grab.
I thought he was too. That's one of the, I love that he went for it and attempted to get that reception. I wish he could have gotten his 2 hands under it, but the one hand is what he went for, and he tried to get it.
So it'll be 2nd and 15 here for Lone Peak. I like taking a shot, though, right? Like, try to stretch out this Mountain Ridge defense a little bit, especially with how you ran the football. Look to throw. Blake. Little comeback route. That caught as that was to Robinson. Pickup there of, 11?
Yeah, looks to be about 11. So you've got 4 yards left on this 3rd down. And Cuckoo could chew Trey Robinson. Great to get north and south now. Great job finding the sticks and getting to what he needed to do.
Which is all the more challenging on a cloudy night. You can't use the sun to help you know north, south, east, west. That young man's packing a compass.
We got the mountains.
That's true. 4 to go here, 1st quarter. And Mountain Ridge, that defense, able to get behind the line of scrimmage and bring this down for a loss. Nice response there from this Sentinel D.
Running into the welcoming arms of Kendall Wall. Kendall's like, hey, I'm all 6'6". Come on in. Here we go. Sophomore last year, he's really improved in what he's doing, and he's gotten a lot bigger, too.
You talk about youngsters that have improved. They're a handful for Mountain Ridge. You talked with Coach Mayfu about. We'll get into that as the game goes on. 2nd and 11 here for the Knights. They'll throw again. Blake, that one just a little bit low, intended for Hoffines, and it'll bring up a 3rd and long here now for the Knights.
What's interesting when we're watching this Mountain Ridge defense is we've got Samisi Kinney back there, 38 at free safety, really just kind of your rover looking over the whole field. He can come and run support. He can stay back in passing downs. And you have to have one of your best athletes back there against this ferocious Lone Peak offense.
3rd and 11 for Jackson Blake. Looking, has a man. That caught. 1st down, Lone Peak. Another throw for Hoffines as he takes it to the 25, and he'll move the sticks.
Hoffines is really impressing me. What I like about Lone Peak, Jackson Blake is no respecter of persons. He spreads the ball around like nice hot butter on toast. You get to see him make every receiver look like an all-star, whether it's Jaden Mayberry, Trey Roberts, or Hoffines tonight.
Just outside the red zone, Lone Peak on their 2nd possession. Back to the ground, Wild, trying to show some patience there. Stood up after a couple of yards. Cole Brannon was there, another one of the sophomores for Mountain Ridge.
And Wild is just a tough kid. He's not the biggest kid in the entire world. He's listed at 5'9", 190, and there is no way on this green earth that he's 5'9". But I respect the inch or two that he's given. He is a load, though. He runs hard, keeps his legs under him, and he is a threat coming out of the backfield as well as a receiving option.
2nd down. Blake looking down the seam, has a man caught. Touchdown, Lone Peak.
What a phenomenal drawn-up play for number 11, Seth Haskins, 6'3", 175 pounds. You get to see so many different guys coming in and playing really, really well as well. Not Seth. That was Trey Roberts.
I thought it was 11.
It was 11. It was Seth. Trey was just coming off the field really excited.
Okay. All right.
My bad. Seth is going to hold now. That's the most important job on this whole entire field at this moment.
Clearly. at this moment. Come on, Moose. Pressure around the edge. Doesn't matter. Lone Peak gets it up and good. 10-0. Lone Peak off to a great start here at home. You're watching Lone Peak football on the Rewind Sports Network. I want to thank our sponsors of Lone Peak Football. doTERRA is a proud sponsor of Lone Peak Football. doTERRA's products help athletes around the world maintain the highest level of health and wellness. Learn more about how you can up your health and wellness game at doTERRA.com. Also want to thank Ideal Kitchen and Bath. Do it once, do it right with Ideal Kitchen and Bath. This kick into the air will be returnable, and Mountain Ridge is going to take it just inside the 20. Good coverage there for Lone Peak.
Cam Beck was so excited when he got that ball. His eyes were as big as melons. I could see him from here. He's like, finally, the up back gets the ball, and it's my time to shine. Usually the rule of thumb is when that happens, you run forward and find the next guy while the guys behind you go and get the ball. Never run back and catch that ball.
A couple more sponsors. Tire Factory Point S. No stress with Point S Tire and Auto Service. Tire Factory Point S in American Fork, a sponsor of Lone Peak Football, as well as Tech 9. Tech Happily with Tech 9, where Utah goes for custom software development. So Mountain Ridge will start at their own 21-yard line. And this thrown into the flat. Here's Keeney making one-man miss, two-man miss. Now still on his feet. Brought down at a 25-yard line. Gain of 4.
Great throw by Bingham there. Great catch. Usually if you can make the first man miss, the line's coming up for some cleanup time. But they didn't quite make it there. Samisi's been very impressive to me on both sides of the ball so far. And another kid that's been really impressive to me is Adam Hawks, the 6'6", 260-pound tackle.
And the guy who's really grown in that position is Mountain Ridge staying on the ground here. Nice cut back there from Keeney. He takes it ahead. Going to be near first down. Looks like he'll have it. And yes, it'll be a first down here for the Sentinels.
Whenever you need a first down, look for 38. He's going to do many, many good things for you.
You know, it's remarkable. You look at this game, and we talked about Jesus Hernandez had carries out of the backfield on the first drive. He's averaging 6.4 yards a carry through the first 3 weeks. Talk about Mountain Ridge wins over Fremont, Dixie, West Jordan, decisive in 2 out of those 3. And looking for a real statement win here in week 4. Bingham sensing some room. He's going to run with it and takes this up near the 40-yard line. Nice carry there by the quarterback.
Bingham is calm, cool, and collected. And it must be because of his last name, because anyone with that last name is definitely going to be a baller in this state. I'm a big fan of Wyatt Bingham.
Yeah, as well you should be. Just got to change the number. Right?
If he had 38 out there or 90, that'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when Keeney graduates, he'll take 38. We'll see. Wyatt, that one deflected out of the air. Boy, good pass rush there from Lone Peak. Some of you have heard that before. This was Andy Stice coming up with a deflection.
Andy was so excited about that. It looks like that kid can dunk. He was at least 10 feet in the air, if not more. That adrenaline got him going up and up.
It's another third down here. 3rd and 2 for Mountain Ridge. Wyatt Bingham checking over to the sidelines. Lone Peak showing pressure. They'll back out of it. Bingham looking over the middle. Has a man wide open. That caught and a first down for Mountain Ridge.
That comes from number 16. Kai Meza, the sophomore, has been phenomenal all year long. Kai puts up numbers like you wouldn't believe. And that's what's crazy about this team. It's so young across the board. You've got a couple of those senior contributors, but you're looking at a lot of juniors and sophomores.
Kai Meza, familiar last name. Yes, he is the younger brother of actually, never mind. My bad. I got confused there. I don't have that confirmed whether he is or not. I had Meza and Mulford's mixed up.
Oh, okay.
But Kai Meza, you mentioned, he's been spectacular, averaging 26 yards of reception through the first 3 weeks.
He's not a stranger to the varsity level. As a freshman, he came out and balled out, did a lot of good things. Kai's been training with Ross Oppo. He does so many good things all year long. 2nd down, direct snap, picks up a yard. And that could be the end of the first quarter, and looks like it will be. So first quarter in the books, Lone Peak with a 10-0 lead after 1. You're watching KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week. Lone Peak football on the Rewind Sports Network. Brought to you by Heidemann Associates
and presented by G2G Bar. Welcome back. Start of the second quarter, 10-0 Lone Peak. Third down here for Mountain Ridge.
Last week, Lone Peak was missing number 33, the man who made the tackle on that last one. Fihi Monga, they're very excited. He's back in the lineup.
Lone Peak bringing pressure. Bingham stepping up. Has a nice pocket. Thrown outside. Deflected away. Oh, good coverage on the outside there for the Knights.
That was phenomenal coverage by C.J. Rubel. The senior cornerback is a stud. That's what's cool about this Lone Peak team. The numbers change, but it seems like it's always a bunch of seniors running around and being dominant for the Lone Peak Knights. Now,
so fourth down.
Brody Laga coming back in for the punt. Much better hit this time around.
Angled. Oh, how about that, Moose? That's going to make your little heart go pitty-pat. Inside the 5.
Pitter-patter, my heart just went a-flatter. It's fluttering, and it's so happy right now. Out at the 5, that's what dreams are made of. You're winning the position battle, and Brody Laga did a much better job slowing down and angling that punt for a coffin corner. I'm dead right now. That was so beautiful.
Protractors. Telling you, they fixed the world's problem. Lone Peak will come out starting at the 5-yard line. Of course, I want to remind you, Lone Peak Football is brought to you by Tile Ram. Start your remodel right with dust-free demolition with Tile Ram. And, of course, Black Desert. Remarkable within reach. Thanks to Black Desert and Tile Ram for their sponsorship of Lone Peak Football on the Rewind Sports Network. Empty backfield, 5 wide here for Lone Peak on first down. Design keeper, Blake with a nice carry up the middle, able to pick up plenty of breathing space for this Lone Peak offense, up to the 12.
That was a good tackle by Jackson Brown. Once again, the sophomore D tackle is active because if he didn't make that shoelace tackle, Blake might be gone.
2nd and 3 here for Lone Peak. And I like trying to get him involved in the ground game as well, right?
I don't like risk.
You don't? Okay. All right. Well,
agree.
Okay, fine. We'll give it to Brooks Wild. He'll pick up a pair. Is that better, Moose?
It is. I just get worried with quarterbacks because we're not at the University of Utah right now. We're not 4 deep at quarterback. So it's a little more difficult in high school where you're sitting there, you're like, who can throw the ball now?
Well, they do have Ike Staley.
Ike Staley is very good at the football.
It's a 3rd and 1. It's still Jackson Blake. He's been sharp here early on in this one. Oh, he's got a man behind the defense. That thrown out and caught down the sideline and tackled at the 43-yard line. It's Seth Haskett with a huge reception and across midfield.
Man, you've got about the 4 horsemen here at receiver. If you cover one, you roll the defense to Mayberry, then you've got Seth Haskins. If you've got him, you've got Trey Roberts. If you've got him, you've got someone else. It's absolutely crazy to try to cover all of these receiving options.
Yeah, we talked about all the help that there's on the outside for this Lone Peak offense. Fantastic job, as there was a flag on the play. It's a sideline warning called on Mountain Ridge. No penalty yardage marked off on that, but there's your first one. So first down here for Lone Peak.
Big point of emphasis this year.
Now, I got more clarity this week. You're not going to like it. Here's Trey Robinson making a couple tacklers miss and pushed out of bounds at the 33. How about that?
I respect Trey Robinson's spatted cleats, too. That's a fashion style that never goes out of style, making sure those shoes stay on nice and snug. But I want to hear the clarity. I don't want to get more mad, but I want to hear it.
Yeah, that's going to have to be an off-air conversation.
Oh, there may be some 4-letter words flying between me and Dane.
It's not that. I'm still trying to get really clear on what the explanation is, and I don't want to lead our faithful audience astray any longer.
Well, they're here.
Because I've done it twice. 2nd and 1. Blake has the out right through the fingertips of Wild.
He's going to want that one back for sure. But this is a good situation you're in. 3rd and 1, you can take the risks there. You can make your shots, see if you can get a little bubble screen or whatnot.
Do you take a shot here, knowing you got a 4th and 1 on the plus side?
I may. I'm a gambler, though. They call me Riverboat Moose where I'm from.
I may bury. Instead, it'll be Wild. He'll pick up the first as he takes it to the 30. First down, Lone Peak. Did you see what I did there?
Yeah.
I may bury.
But when you've got offensive linemen like Austin Pay, it's hard not to utilize him because Wild can hop behind Pay, and you may never see Wild again. Pay's that big and strong.
First down, Lone Peak. At the 30-yard line, boy, the offense has looked good here in this first half, Moose.
They've looked phenomenal. All four of these receivers are playing out of their minds.
Oh, pressure coming right up the teeth, and that ball's fumbled. Blake lost it. It's scooped up by Mountain Ridge, and they're not going to catch him. It's Tanner DeYoung with the scoop and score, and Mountain Ridge is on the scoreboard.
Taylor Higham came in there with bad intentions. That's why we were highlighting him before the game. 6 foot 205. He was one of the top players last year at any level. But my goodness, that was a hit. That's a huddle highlight and possibly a KSL Rewind top 5 play. Because boom shakalaka, Taylor Higham, welcome to Lone Peak in the first ever meeting. You don't need offense when you can have Taylor Higham coming and playing like that.
Boy, there was late movement by that defense, and Blake just didn't see the pressure coming at him quickly enough. You're right. Higham brought it, and that's one most quarterbacks are going to lose that one.
Yeah, he literally couldn't have done anything on that one. Miscommunication can take a quarterback's head off.
So log on here for the point after that one into the subdivision. It's good. 10-7 as the Mountain Ridge defense putting the Sentinels on the board and clawing back here to within one possession.
The ball was literally over all the fences.
Yeah.
The ball is gone.
It took someone who hasn't paid admission to get that ball back in the stadium. Thank goodness we have good citizens here tonight. We do want to thank our sponsors, of course. G2G makes fresh, healthy, and delicious grab and eat food for busy people. With all natural ingredients, no preservatives, and plenty of protein, G2G bars are perfect for anyone who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. The experts who develop and perfect G2G bars are passionate about nutrition, but they also understand that the world's healthiest bars are worthless if they taste like cardboard. That's why you'll always find G2G bars in the refrigerator section, made with fresh and familiar ingredients and crafted into delicious combinations that make it fun and easy to eat healthy, no matter where your busy life takes you. Thanks to G2G Bars for sponsoring Lone Peak Football and the Rewind Sports Network.
Yeah, where I get my good-to-go bars is at Costco. That's one of my favorite places. I go to Costco, put a book on tape on, and just walk around the store sometimes.
Some days, if it's on a Saturday, you can listen to 3 books on tape. Is this kickoff? There it is.
Oh, okay.
There it is.
It's about time.
Tack an Uno on, right? We throw a point on the scoreboard.
You know what?
I'd actually love that
How
rule.
valuable would kickers be if you started
That's an arena rule.
Is it?
Yeah.
No.
It used to be.
In arena football, because the fields are only like 60 yards long.
I know, but it's narrower posts, too.
Yeah.
It's called a Uno.
Really?
Yeah.
I think we're going to have to look that rule up.
Well, we called games up in Ogden, and the first time it happened, I was like, what is this? But it was legit.
There's some interesting football leagues out there. Aussie Rules Football, that's an interesting football league.
Dusty's big in that one right now.
I love it. I want to go to Australia and watch a game.
Lone Peak starting at their own 20 after the touchback. They'll go on the ground. Little sweep here, given with Robinson as he turns upfield for a gain of 6.
Man, that was a good sweep. Everything good in there. And it looks like that.
He picks up 5 yards on the play. Let's call it 6.
Sorry, it looks like Jackson Blake is doing okay. So that's good to see him out there healthy and get that defensive line moving, not able to pin their ears back because Darius has done a good job with this defensive line.
Mountain Ridge was showing pressure there again, but a flag here before the snap. I think that Mountain Ridge might have jumped.
Flag before the play.
Indeed.
Well, that's one way to get a first down. The easiest and the happiest way.
Well, happy
Unless
for one
you're on
sideline,
defense.
really frustrated on the other, right?
That's kind of that's so true in every aspect of this game.
That is
Someone's
true.
always happy, someone's always sad.
The only adage, can't we just all be happy? No, we cannot be.
There's no ties
Someone's
going
to be mad. First down, Blake. Oh, was looking for Hoffines, and that one could not be hauled in, incomplete.
And Higgum is still flying around. Hoffines is like, crap, I dropped the ball. And Higgums came and make sure he knew that he dropped it with a little check in the hip pad right there.
Second down. Well, looking to the sideline here, we talking about Lone Peak and talking with Coach Brockbank before the game. They've had good quarters, good halves. It's like, can we put together 4 good quarters? They had a good first. Trying to keep that momentum here in the second. That one thrown out of bounds nowhere to go down the field for Blake. We'll bring up a 3rd and 10 here for the Knights.
Yeah, that's been the interesting thing. You watch the Timpview game, you're like, man, they could have won that if they had a better second half. And then you watch the Corner Canyon game, you're like, man, they could have won that if they had a better first half. And then you watch the Bingham game and you're like, they put it all together pretty well against them.
3rd and 10.
But everyone's still growing. Everyone's still learning on both teams right here.
Blake, good time. Over the middle, has a man. Caught, drops it right in the basket of Haskins. First down.
That's a collegiate throw right there. Finding your man in the middle of triple coverage. What a great throw and what a great route. There.
That's the thing, what we've seen today, it's a lot of 3-man routes. And Blake's been pretty accurate with the football.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard he could hit a fly on the crossbar from 50 yards away.
Pressure coming up the middle. Blake dialing one up deep. Has a man behind the D and just missed it. Oh, Trey Robinson, those hands let him down on a big potential play.
Well, he's going to have a talking to his hands. You'll always notice when a receiver doesn't catch the ball, he looks at his hands and he says, why? Why would you betray me like that?
I've got little giants in my head. Come on, fellas. I bathe you. Clip your fingernails.
I'll make you look all pretty for this game.
Oh, that is one that Trey makes that catch most of the time. It'll be 2nd and 10 here instead for Lone Peak.
He'll keep his head up. He's got to come back and get another opportunity, and he will in this game.
He will. Yeah, he will. Blake, that one thrown underneath, caught, gain of 5.
See, there's lots of positions that I think I can play, and there's positions where I just have no desire to play, and it's a receiver going over the middle. That's something I never want to do in my life and never want to experience. They're like, aren't you tough? I'm like, tough as nails. But so is Taylor Higgum and all the middle linebackers.
Yeah. If I had to play that, I'd go down whenever the football came in my vicinity. No yards after the catch for me. Just catch and roll. They'll go wild here on 3rd down, ahead for a gain of 3 there before being bottled up. 4th and short here. What do you do, Moose?
So you're in no man's land right here. I don't like punting it because it ruins my punt average, to be honest here. So if I was punting it, I would purposefully hop off sides or get a penalty. But they're making the right call with 4th and 3 to go for it because you still have the running game open. You still have the passing game open.
Gabriel Tom to the left of Blake in the backfield here. 4th down. Blake looking. Still eyes down the field. Has to throw it up. Oh, and how about the adjustment? Trey Robinson able to come and scoop it up, and it's a 1st down for Lone Peak.
Phenomenal catch right there by Trey Robinson. He had a little coming to himself with his hands. He's like, hands, you got to catch the next ball that comes to you. And they listened real well right there.
Can I tell you the thing that's most impressive to me here and really we've seen it with Robinson, like his speed to get open. It's like Blake knows he can put the ball up and Robinson's going to get under it.
Yeah.
1st down. Looking near the boundary. Caught by Mayberry. Jaden takes us inside the 20.
So what I like about Blake is he actually understands each of his receivers, whether they need it on their numbers or if he can float it to him. Trey Robinson does such a great job when the ball's floated to him and he gets under it. And it's not like a float. It's like a get to the spot I need you to be at. That's where NFL quarterbacks play.
Throw your guy open, right?
They're throwing to a spot.
2nd and short. Back to the ground. Wild. Turning to the middle here. He'll pick up the 1st down.
Just getting those little chunks. Mayberry did a great job right here, and that's the first time we've really called his name where he's getting involved. And the Mayberries, they came in from Arizona. They still play on 7-on-7 teams in Arizona, one of the tops in the country. Looks like we've got a guy down.
Lineman for Lone Peak here, a little slow to get up. I think that's Salval. as the staff coming out to check on him.
That was a 1 yard gain.
Goodness, that's the one thing that's hard for Lone Peak right now. They've got great first stringers, but the depth, it isn't there at every position, and the line is a position where you've got to be careful.
Yep. We do want to take a moment, thank some of our sponsors again. Crumble Cookies, anyone? Hey, thanks to Crumble. They hooked us up before the game. I'm nice and full. Moose and I are we feel good right now, man.
Dude, it's almost hibernation season. I need a crumble or two.
Yeah, I want to thank Crumble Cookies for their sponsorship of Lone Peak football and taking care of Moose and I here pregame. We offered to Tino. He said no. Want to thank Legacy Power, smart energy solutions for a better future. And, of course, Walmart. Save money, live better with Walmart. All proud sponsors of Lone Peak football here on the Rewind Sports Network as you see Salval being helped off the field. You talked about how important the Hogs are up front for any football team, and certainly hoping that he'll be okay as they'll have a look at the junior on the sideline.
Looks like Luke Sperry's coming in. The senior, all 5'11", 210 pounds, so not as big as Salval.
1st and 10, Lone Peak in the red zone. Blake looking, and that one overthrown, incomplete, out of bounds.
Kenny came in there making sure that Matthias Nawahine came in, and he's like, hey, I'm here, buddy. Not only can I run, I can tackle. Be careful going up for that ball. Think twice.
2nd and 10 here for Lone Peak.
Big 2nd and 10. And Blake got a little bit of pressure on him. I think that's why the ball was off a little bit.
I think that Mountain Ridge has started to bring more pressure as they'll run it here with Wild, and he's wrapped up behind the line of scrimmage. Good burst there by William Adamson, the senior, able to come up with the TFL.
William Adamson, solid player. And the technical ability of all these guys, I can't say enough about Darius Matthews and his defensive line coaching. He's one of those trainers that a lot of guys from all over the state goes to work with Darius and what he's been doing. What proud product of Dixie State. I refuse to say Utah Tech on this broadcast.
3rd and 13.
Unless they're sponsored.
Empty backfield, Blake. Pressure coming, evades it. Hey, he's got a lot of room. Blake gonna tuck it and run. Blake using the feet. Is he in the end zone? Waiting. Touchdown, Lone Peak.
You can see the refs. One was looking at the other. They're like, I don't know. And finally the head man's like, I know.
3rd and 13, and Jackson Blake takes it to the house from 18 yards out.
Not particularly known as a dual threat, but he was running for his life right there. He got a little quicker when he saw the defense collapsing in and did a great job right there. Oh, I would be losing my mind right now. Number 61, Sione, come on, buddy. Get on in there, the freshman.
Hey, he's there. Plenty of time. Moose, come on. It's okay. Kick up. And this one is good. So
there's a flag on the play.
Yeah.
Samisi Kinikini has almost blocked every single kick.
I know.
Like, he's kind of haphazardly going in there, and he's like, I don't know if I should block it or not. That would terrify me, and I would grab my wing, is what we call them, and I'd be like, help me, man. Don't let him get near me. My life is at risk. I need you to help me.
There have been a couple times where I thought Kinikini was going to get a hand on it. As we await the penalty call here.
Kinikini almost got the ball blocky. What's the call?
I haven't seen anything. There's a conversation happening with Coach Brockbank, but I'm not quite certain. I didn't even see like a wave off indication. So I'm in a confused state, which most of our listeners are like, yeah, you always are.
Oh, this is the second worst thing in the world to happen.
Yep.
Brody,
so they backed it up. There you go.
I had this one time where we got a penalty on the touchdown, and then we got a second penalty on the PAT. And I was kicking off from about the 10-yard line, and I was losing my mind. I'm like, what do you guys want me to do? It's 90 yards.
The call was an unsportsmanlike, so the 15-yard penalty, Lone Peak will be kicking off from the 25.
This is where you get a great return, and Mountain Ridge needs this.
Yes.
Their offense hasn't quite been clicking, but they've had games where they put up 50-plus points. And so it's not that they can't do it, but look out here because this is an opportunity to get you in not just positive territory, but check plus positive territory.
Sentinels standing at their own 20, waiting for this kick. It is high, it is angled, and it is out of bounds. I actually love that because they're going to get it at the 35. You negate
Unless you
any
make
better
them
field position.
It. You can make them re-kick it, take the 5-yard penalty.
Flag is illegal kick.
If I was Mountain Ridge, I would make them re-kick it.
And that seems like that might be what we're preparing to do here potentially. Or they might just be saying they're going to, maybe it might be yardage marked off.
They should be re-kicking it because if you have them kicking from the 15, it's even better. I remember one time I was at Riverton, I kicked it out of bounds once because they had this horrendous hill that messed up my steps. Then they had me re-kick it again, and I kicked it out of bounds again.
Bountiful used to have one of those hills as well. They actually are going to put it at the 50-yard line. So I'm guessing there was yardage taken from where it was out of bounds is my guess. Hey, you start at midfield. I mean, Sentinels aren't going to complain, right?
I would.
No, you complain a lot.
I've
been meaning to talk to you about that. First down here for Mountain Ridge. And the Sentinels looking on the ground. Kini, boy, that's a good thing that Fihi came up to make that stop because otherwise Kini had 6 written all over that play.
Yeah, Fihi Monga in there is just phenomenal. And I haven't seen the 4-star on this team, Bob Muitolo.
Yeah.
I haven't seen him at all this game. Number 0, and it's not that he's nothing. He's a stud.
Second down. Kini again here trying to look for a lane. There's nothing there. Look, I mean, in case you didn't know, Lone Peak's defensive front, it's legit. Has been for years, and it's still Lone Peak.
Yeah, with Ryan Denny in here, there is no one better at calling defenses in the entire country. I'd put him against almost anyone. And it seems like every year it's like, okay, Lone Peak lost everyone, but they still have Denny, and now they've got another great defensive end.
That's correct. It's a new group every year. Here's Bingham rolling to his left, has a man in the flat. That caught. First down and more as Lone Peak was going for the deflection, and they'll pay the price on that one. First down, Mountain Ridge. Nice throw there by Bingham.
Braden Anderson getting that catch. He's like, oh, is this going to get deflected? No, and he looked just about as surprised as anyone in the stands that the ball was in his hands at the end of it. And he said, hooray, let's get going. They're in field goal range already,
yes,
so that's happy.
Yes, they are. First down. Bingham pressure coming in, and he goes down. And it's Junior Tahi coming in with the sack.
Junior Tahi is an absolute load coming in at 6 foot 230. The junior they're happy to have him back. They were missing some of their key run stoppers, but Junior isn't just a run stopper. He's a sack master.
Well, that's a big one. That's a loss of 8 on the play. 2nd and 18 now for the Sentinels. Pressure again coming up. Wyatt now going to tuck it. He's looking to get that back. Boy, he felt the pain there. A gain of 5 on the run from Bingham.
Got to get up because their backup quarterback is a freshman. Can you imagine going from Little League to seeing Denny's defense? You're just like, I have never seen anything but a cover 2 in my life.
That's what we like to call baptism by fire right there. Good luck.
That's molten lava. It's melting metal.
3 minutes to go. 3rd and 13. Bingham, oh boy, a lot of nights. It's set up the screen beautifully though. Kini up the left side. Samisi inside the 20, turning back and brought down at the 7-yard line. It's 1st and goal, Mountain Ridge.
Wow. That was just about the perfectly called, perfectly executed play for that situation. Kenny is one of the top running backs in the state, but he gets tired of playing both ways.
Well, that's a big one. I thought that. I didn't even see the screen. I was like, oh boy, this might be a tough one. Worked out well. Kini cutting through traffic, picking up a couple there. We'll take it to the 5.
This is a huge possession right here because if Mountain Ridge can get a touchdown, they're in this game.
Well, here's the thing. You operate out of a 2nd and 18, and now you're sitting 1st and goal. Yeah, you get points on this, you're going to walk into that locker room feeling really good. We talked with Coach Brockbank. He said that Timpview game, the interception before the half gave them all the momentum. He doesn't want that to happen here.
Yeah, this is a big play, and Mountain Ridge's defense has hung tough. I've been impressed with this group of young men.
Yeah. 2nd down. Motion, design, run. Keeney down to the 2. It'll be 3rd and goal.
You just got to keep pounding the rock right here.
Yep. That clock's still running. Right?
Yeah.
So
one thing that I've hated watching football is the running clock in college.
you don't like that?
Oh, I hate it. I got to
Games are under 5 hours now. I mean, that's kind of nice.
But I enjoy every little bit, every little morsel. It's just a chase to the taste buds.
3rd and goal for Mountain Ridge, trying to get points before the break. Keeney will take the snap. Oh, it's the jump pass. And it is, was that caught?
Not caught.
No, incomplete. The jump pass from Keeney is incomplete, and it's 4th and goal.
One of the Knights was playing really smart, sound football. That jump pass popularized by Ben Moa, the first person to ever do that at the University of Utah. Interesting little tidbit. His son, Salisi, is at Weber right now.
I mean, you know, Tim Tebow takes all the credit.
Yeah, we all know it's Ben Moa, though, that popularized it under Urban Meyer.
4th and goal for Mountain Ridge. They're going to go for it. 90 seconds left here. Bingham looking to the flat, caught. Touchdown, Mountain Ridge.
Great route right there by number 16, Kai Meza. And you're going to see him all over the place. You got to have someone have a bead on Kai at all times because he's an absolute stud. Bingham, great job representing the family, young man. I approve of that pass. You are more than welcome to family dinners now.
Point after here for the Sentinels.
So Laga's trying to hit the Timpanogos Temple right here.
This kick up, pressure up the middle, didn't matter. That one does not clear the fence, but does clear the uprights.
Just a bit short of the Temple.
Well, he's still got time. 17-14, Lone Peak. How about that drive by Mountain Ridge Moose?
That was impressive, and I didn't anticipate this score because with all the fans that have been on my polls, they told me that this would not be a close game, but apparently it's a barn burner down here in Alpine, Utah.
It's about time, right? I mean, like, we've had fun games this year, but I'm like, I want a close game.
You want a close game?
We've had it.
You know what? Neither one of these teams wants a close game.
I know.
You're the only one here that wants it.
But can't they think of us, right?
Yeah.
Like, don't our feelings matter, Moose?
You know what? My feet get hurt from standing so long here. My knees get tired. I'm getting old.
I mean, his poor shoes are worn out, folks. Like,
I don't even want to talk about it. The doctor said I couldn't run anymore. He's like, you're going to tear an Achilles. I'm like, that's not what I want to hear from walking.
So Mountain Ridge here to kick off.
So what's the over-under on through the post? I've got the over.
I'll take the under. Nope.
Oh, just on the over. Let's go. We're going to Windover after this.
Yeah, that's a
just by the hair of his chinny
that, huh?
chin.
So look, Lone Peak comes out. 1:20 left to go here. 3 timeouts. Are you aggressive here?
You know what? With the receivers I have, you don't have to be as aggressive. You can just do some outs. You can do the timeouts allow you to attack the middle of the field. There's so many things that you can do right here. The playbook should be open. And 5 wide coming out like that.
Yeah, I mean, Lone Peak's looking to get something. That one incomplete. Is intended there for Haskett.
Haskett is going to want that one back for sure. But you got to get the first downs. That's where it becomes imperative at this point. You know the defensive ends are going to be coming at you hot. You know that the middle of the field is going to be open as well. But you have Samisi Kinney. You've got a lot of guys here that are ready to come after you, including Higgum.
2nd and 10. They're certainly going to push this Mountain Ridge defense. Designed run here for Blake, and he's bottled up at the line of scrimmage. That's a nice job by that front, because if they don't get him, he does have a lot of room in front. And now a timeout taken here by Mountain Ridge. Boy, how about the aggressive call here defensively?
Oh, man.
That's some confidence, isn't it?
Goodness gracious. Didn't anticipate that one. I thought it was going to come from Lone Peak. But Mountain Ridge is feeling themselves right now after the touchdown.
So it'll be 3rd and 7 after this timeout. We do want to thank Igloo Outfitters. The coziest wearable sleeping bag has you covered during those chilly days and nights, which you know are right around the corner here in Utah. Worry no more about the weather and watch your favorite team in comfort with Igloo Outfitters. Go to igloooutfitters.com. That's Igloo, I-G-L-U, igloooutfitters.com, and enter Rewind for $20 off. Never miss the moments with Igloo Outfitters.
You know what? We still got to talk to them. Our Igloo Outfitter, I-G-L-U, better hook us up.
I'm sure. I have all the confidence in the world that'll happen. 3rd down here for Lone Peak. Blake, pressure coming, steps out of it. Boy, and now Blake's got some room. Blake going to tuck it and run, makes a man miss, and is down at the just shy of the 30. And so that will be 4th down and short here. You go for it here, Moose?
Well, there's some dirty laundry on the field.
Yeah, it's a hold. This is going to bring it back.
Oh, man. There's some communication. You do have a different center in here right now. The more compact, a little bit smaller center in Sione Moikai. Just a freshman center as well. Just like it'd be difficult going against Denny's defense, it's difficult against going Mountain Ridge defense, no matter how old you are. But as a freshman, that's real tough.
So the penalty backs it up to the 13-yard line. It's going to be 3rd down and 17 here for Lone Peak. 1:01 to play here in the half. They will start the clock here, which, I mean, if you're Lone Peak, you can take 20 more seconds off. That might not be a terrible idea.
No, look for number 10, Trey Robinson, right now.
Blake looking over the middle, has his man. That's Tom, caught and driven back. And Mountain Ridge will take that last time out as they get the stop on 3rd down. And Lone Peak will have to punt this away.
Brody Robinson coming in there with bad intentions. Crazy thing is Mountain Ridge still has one more timeout after this.
No, that was their last one. They took one on like the 1st or 2nd possession.
Well, that was a bad look by me. Luckily,
right.
Dane's here to help us out.
It happens to the best of us, Moose. So Lone Peak here to punt.
The crazy thing is, I've seen Brody Laga make 65-yard field goals.
And that's the beautiful thing, right? I mean, if you're Mountain Ridge, really, what do you have to get to? The 47?
Maybe.
You get to the 47-yard line, that's a 65-yarder.
Yeah, and you're attempting that.
Well, and they're going to be punting. The punter's going to be back at the 5-yard line. So, yeah. I mean, you could start with the ball in field goal range for Brady Laga.
Cade Daly, though, 6'6", 230. If he can get all his levers going,
well, this is where
that ball could fly.
This is about setting up a return if you're Mountain Ridge, right?
Yep.
Lone Peak to punt this. Snaps good. Kicks away. And this is short. Going to be fielded at the 50. Looking left side. Here's Keeney to the 43-yard line, and that's where Mountain Ridge will come out. 32 seconds left here in the half.
So you're in field goal range here.
Now here's the challenge. You have no timeouts.
Take some shots.
Do you run the football?
No.
Okay. All right.
No, you take some shots. You make sure you don't get sacked.
Shots.
Shots.
Yeah, I'm a Cardinals fan, so I had to do my best Jonathan Gannon impersonation.
Oh,
do you remember that from the summer?
No, I do not.
When he met the team, he walked in, Rondell Moore was like, pew, 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 pew. Shots. It was awesome.
I need to watch more Cardinals, apparently.
Yes, 1st and 10 here for Mountain Ridge, starting at the 44. Bingham stepping up, buying time, and he's going to throw this outside, caught and out of bounds.
That was a great throw and catch.
Joan Cunningham.
Matthias Nahuani is sitting there like, I cannot believe that happened. Great job. He's going to want that one back for sure, but great job by the quarterback, great job by the receiver.
Well, now you got all sorts of room to spare. I mean, forget field goal. You could get touchdown here easy.
Not easy.
Well, not easy, but you're within range of doing that. And that one, that's on the ground. Well, it was caught. So that clock going to continue to run, and now you just got to spike it and bring out the field goal.
Yeah.
I didn't mean easy like easy. I meant you're within range. 2 plays, you could make that happen. They will spike it here to stop it. It'll be 3rd and long. And with 8 seconds left, I think you bring Laga out, right?
I'd probably I'd eat up a little bit more of the clock, scoot it back a little bit, and then let him kick it. But
yeah, I'm kicking here.
You're kicking?
Yep.
This is well within the range, too.
So Mountain Ridge is going to come out. This is going to be a 46-yard try here for Laga. This will be a chance to tie it up at the break.
All of Cougar Nation is watching this.
From 46, the kick is up. It's got the distance. It is on target. It is good. A 46-yarder, and we are tied up at 17.
Rawr, indeed. Brody Laga making his presence known with all 5 of his points. That is a big kick. High pressure, great job getting it through the pipes right there. Now with 3.6 seconds left, do you kick it in the end zone? Do you do a little squib kick? What are you doing, Dane?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Both.
Yeah, just put this in the end zone, drop everyone, and just go to the break.
I think it'd be interesting just to kick it to an up back so they can't
you
do
squib
anything.
It's going to kill his average, Moose. Why would you do that? I thought you liked kickers.
Oh, no, I don't mind. I don't care about kickoff average.
Oh, okay.
There's certain stats I really care about. There's certain stats I really don't. But I would kick it to one of these up backs. So you'll see that they've got a 5-4-2. I'd try to kick it to the guys on the 25-yard line because I know that they cannot catch or do much.
How about the neon green tee? You like that?
Brody Laga is one of the most boisterous, fun kids in the entire state, and that matches his personality.
Coach Mayhew said that. He's like, there's not a lot of players who come out to watch the field goal in a practice. He's like, but Brady's one of those kids.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. He's a stud. Let's see what they do here.
Yep. Just call me Coach Stu. Coach Stu, that's what it is. That one was through the end zone as well.
Just through the end zone. I remember when I was playing, I was like, if I can get it to the end zone, I am killing it tonight.
Man, I am on.
Now kids are like, if I don't get it through halfway up the pipes, I'm not even showing up for the second half. It's such a different game.
We just didn't value kickers in your day, Moose, like we do now.
I know. All those many years ago.
So out will come Lone Peak. 3.6 seconds left.
I'd probably take a shot,
I
honestly.
would. I mean, what do you have to lose, right?
Especially with seeing this lineup here.
I'm just like,
there's no safeties right now.
See if you can't get Trey Robinson out in the open field and loft one up. I mean, worst thing, they pick it up? Okay, tackle him, right? Like, and I know that's super simplifying. It's not that hard. Just make a tackle.
Well, yeah. Yeah. They're taking it.
Yeah, they're going to knee it.
Bummer, dude.
So that'll do it. We hit the end of the first half. Mountain Ridge, Lone Peak tied up at 17 here on KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week. Welcome back. A beautiful night here at Lone Peak High School and Knights Stadium. Dane Stewart, Moose Bingham with you. 17 apiece. Lone Peak and Mountain Ridge tied at the break. Moose, your thoughts of what we saw in that first half?
I'm super surprised because Lone Peak was driving in the second quarter, and they were about to make it 24-7, and everything, or 24-3. Everything has definitely shifted in Mountain Ridge's favor, and they're going to be getting the ball at this. They're not going to be getting the ball. They're going to be kicking off. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. How Lone Peak responds to this adversity. What are they going to do? And I was wrong again. Lone Peak is kicking off to Mountain Ridge.
You were right. You said they were going to be kicking off.
Yeah.
So, they are kicking off, and they will be receiving. So
I didn't see 22 out there, so I was like, where's the kicker? Who's kicking? Is it Brody Laga, or is it my guy Adam Connors? So I'm going back and forth. But Mountain Ridge starting this game off, they can really start to pull away if they keep that offensive momentum going. And Lone Peak, I don't think they were ready for another dogfight this next week. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens.
Well, I mean, it certainly did feel like there was a nice surge of momentum for Mountain Ridge to close out that first half. Can Lone Peak quell that to start this second half? Or will Mountain Ridge be able to grow that? And we'll see, as the Mountain Ridge offense will, should everything go accordingly here, come out on the field to start the second half. Is this one squibbed and pounced on at the 37. So good field position here for the Sentinels to come out. Lone Peak defense. We talk about how good their front seven is every year. What have you seen from this defense of Lone Peak? Are there any adjustments you would expect to see in the second half?
Well, it's what I didn't see. I didn't see Bot Muitolo out there, and I've been surprised to see that everyone's coming in and being really, really strong. I've been especially surprised with Fi Monga. I really like Fi a lot. He's a dog, number 33. He's been phenomenal in the run game.
So start from the pistol formation. Play action. Bingham looking to dial one up deep. Has a man, and that ball is caught. Oh, a big strike on the opening play. It's Kai Meza with the reception.
Well, it's worked once before, and it's going to continue working. Number 16 is a favorite target for Bingham, and you got to keep going. Even the refs aren't quite ready.
Yeah, they're quick to it here. This is Kinney on the carry, making one-man miss, takes it down inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. The sticks weren't even set.
Kinney did a great job right there. Someone came in sliding, almost like a slide tackle if you play soccer, and he hurdled him, kept going, and kept his legs churning. So that's a monster first down for Kinney to start out this half.
So it's another first down here for Mountain Ridge as they're already in the red zone here. Ball's at the 14-yard line. Lone Peak bringing pressure. Play action. Bingham throws into the flat. That caught and up into the 10. Nice play there.
I don't know if Lone Peak was ready for Mountain Ridge to come out this fast.
Well, I'll tell you this. So on our show this last week, Dusty and I, we picked fantasy wide receivers. I took Kai Meza. I feel pretty good about that pick, huh?
That's a pretty good pick.
Right? You like that?
Who did Dusty take?
I think the guy up at Syracuse. I think the kid up at Syracuse.
D. Mace or whatever? DN?
Yeah. Second down. Bingham looking front quarter, stacked out of the air. Touchdown Mountain Ridge, and the Sentinels have taken the lead.
Legend Glasker, the wide receiver, 6'2", 155 pounds, and he's a sophomore. Bingham just slinging that. This sophomore class for Mountain Ridge is special. Holy Hannah.
Glasker, a young man who's had a great year coming into the game, 10 receptions, 200 yards. That reception might be his first of the game. But it's in the end zone, and the Sentinels with the lead, looking for the point after here. Kick is up. It is good. It is 24-17, and now 17 unanswered points put on by the Sentinels.
Wow, I was not ready for this, to be honest. That was one of the quickest starts to a half I've ever seen. Just great strikes. Bingham was very impressive right there, finding his man on multiple occasions, 3 for 3, going right down the field into the end zone. Just a phenomenal play. Start out with the squib kick. I don't know if they're going to do many squib kicks anymore and give good field position to the Mountain Ridge Sentinels.
Wow. That feels like you come out and get socked in the mouth. What response does Lone Peak have after that big drive? And, of course, all set up by the K. Meza strike.
Well, everyone has a plan until they get hit in the mouth. Now what do you do? Who are you? Who is this Lone Peak Knights team? Are they the Lone Peak Knights team that had a tough game against Timpview and played them hard? Are they the Lone Peak Knights team that's going to shut the door like they did on Bingham?
So, Laga here to kick off.
I like how Laga has a hand towel in the back.
Yeah. Well, you just never know. You never know, Moose. This one into the end zone for the touchback, and that one placed right on the line. His accuracy's been dead on tonight. He's hit the crossbar. That one, he hits the back of the end zone. It's just wherever he wants it, just boop, boop, boop.
Glad I took the over on that crossbar one, though.
Yeah, that was a good call. Vegas had that as a push, and it was, but it pushed over, so that's a nice job. All right, so, hey, you mentioned it. What Lone Peak are we going to see? And it's Wild in the backfield with Blake. You mentioned it, Moose. The first quarter and a half felt like they were moving the ball at will, and then that turnover really disrupted them. Can they settle back in as they were looking there for Hoffhines, but that was just a touch behind him, incomplete.
So which receiver is going to step up this half is the real big question for me. You always have Brooks Wild, does a great job running. The line always does a great job blocking. Who are they going to find? And I think they really got to involve number 12, Mayberry, and number 10, Trey Roberts.
Yeah, it feels like we really haven't seen them try to utilize Deshaun much in this first half. Is a nice carry there, taken up the middle there by Wild, able to pick up 6 yards. We really haven't seen him try to stretch the field much either, right? It felt like early on they were going vertical. I think the last time they tried, it was the one that slipped through the fingertips of Robinson. It just hasn't been there.
And with this Mountain Ridge team, a lot of these guys go both ways, so you've got to take advantage of your depth.
Third down, Blake looking over the middle. That caught. Boy, how about that throw? Placed perfectly there by Blake, and it's Haskett with the reception and a first down.
Blake does a great job getting this ball right on the tips of the fingers of the defenders, just outside of their reach. What a phenomenal play.
Haskett here paying the price, though. He's slow to get up, trying to walk this off. Looks like he's okay. Good to see. We'll take a moment here. Want to thank our sponsors, Tire Factory Point S. No stress with Point S Tire and Auto Service. Tire Factory Point S and American Fork, a sponsor of Lone Peak football, as is Black Desert. Remarkable within reach with Black Desert. All right. So
this is something I haven't seen from Lone Peak all year. Is it two-back?
How about that? This feels like old school football there. They'll go on the ground here. Pick up about 3 yards.
They no longer have the Durfee dozer. They don't have those big old backs. They've got 2 scat backs that are pretty phenomenal, though.
Yeah.
3-yard gain in the play.
I do miss the Durfee.
Right? That kid was a tank. He was so big.
Yeah. I just thought he was a bulldozer. That's why I called him the Durfee
He was. Of course, they don't have McChesney.
Crew McChesney or Austin. Or any of them.
Second down. They'll stay on the ground, and this one bottled up behind the line. First guy there for Mountain Ridge was Cannon Montgomery. Not the first time we've called his name tonight.
This is so interesting right now. Now that you've got a receiver down and you're doing a 2-back system, can you guys get open still? Is there still those mismatches that you can take advantage of, the one-on-ones? But I've been very impressed with this Mountain Ridge team.
Just so you know, Bot Moitalo is on the side. He's not dressed tonight, FYI.
Oh.
We talked with the staff before the game and thought they had said that he was healthy, but he is not going. They do strike deep, but that's intercepted. Picked off by Mountain Ridge. They look to dial one up there. Was intended for Robinson, and it's Taylor Higham with his second forced turnover of the night.
Phenomenal playing by this Mountain Ridge defense. They are not the Mountain Ridge of old. Coach has been there for a long time, Coach Mayfu. He's been the only coach at Mountain Ridge, and he's taken them from it was Harriman's little brother to now. They may be running Region 2 right there with Corner Canyon if they're playing Lone Peak this tough.
Taylor Higham, he's a junior. Moose, I'm not going to lie, he's quickly becoming one of my favorite juniors.
He was one of my favorite sophomores last year.
I didn't see him last year, but, man, he's been impressive tonight. First down, and Bingham looking, going to dial one up deep again. There was contact there, and there's no flag. This one incomplete.
Oh, may have gotten a little pushy-shovey getting away with that one.
I couldn't tell if that was incidental or not. The officials pretty clear, no call on the play. Kai did look back, but no infraction called. Be 2nd and 10.
Looks like 77's running off there. Something's going on with his equipment or helmet or something.
Stockbrand, the sophomore tackle. Just another sophomore, no big deal.
Got to get another big boy in there. Come on in, number 75.
That's a junior, Ben Solis.
Welcome to the game, just your 6'3", 270-pound average human being here in the state of Utah.
You can say they have some youth and some depth, do the Sentinels. They'll go on the ground, looking up the middle, pick up there for about 4 yards on the play.
Really smart game plan tonight with going quick and attacking them quickly because this defensive front for Lone Peak is no joke.
3rd down and 6 here for Mountain Ridge. Boy, this would be a big 3rd down stop for this Lone Peak D if they can get it. Trying to cheer on this defense of the Knights.
And if Mountain Ridge can get down and get a 2-score lead, that would be unbelievable to me.
Bingham looking, flushed out, has a man, and is that intercepted? Yes, it is. Picked off. Lone Peak able to generate the turnover, and it's Jaden Mayberry with the interception.
Jaden Mayberry giving the spark that the Lone Peak Knights have been looking for. A little anything you can do, I can do better. This is turning into a great little rivalry game right here. Well, probably the most exciting in the state right now. Wow. Great read by Jaden Mayberry. The free safety comes up, sees the quarterback's eyes. When you're a quarterback, you cannot stare down a receiver ever, or there's bad things like an interception that can happen.
And so Lone Peak going to start in Mountain Ridge territory. This is their best field position, starting field position of the night. They'll go on the ground here with Wild, and he'll take it up to the 36-yard line, a gain there of 6.
Great starting run right there. And that just opens the playbook up. When you're 2nd and 4, you can take a shot, you can do a run, you can do whatever you want.
And this was kind of what Lone Peak felt like in the first quarter, right? It's like, hey, we're going to run the football and then we'll throw when we want. And then it felt like they kind of slipped into throw. Get back to the run game.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, they're doing a great job with the run game. I've been really impressed with Wild.
2nd down, they'll give it back to Brooks, looking right side. Tough yardage there. He'll get 1, maybe 2.
Great run right there. What a great opportunity for them to get this first down. This has been such an exciting game. The clock's running down. I feel like we just started, but 6.5 minutes left. Man, I'm on the edge of my seat, and I know everyone watching at home is as well.
A 3rd and short here for the Knights. Blake looking. And that intercepted, picked off by Mountain Ridge, and a nice lane up the sideline as Mountain Ridge gets it right back, and that's one where Cameron Wood, I just don't think Blake sees him.
I don't think he saw him either, and that's the interesting thing with this defense. Guys popping in, popping out. Now, the Lone Peak defense needs to step up again. This has been a great route, great thought process, but not quite the execution you wanted on that last throw.
Yeah, boy, that's one where Cameron Wood is just sitting just underneath that route. And Blake just didn't.
Playing quarterback is one of the hardest positions ever because you have to keep track of 11 guys on the field on the defense and the offense.
Yeah. So 1st down here, Mountain Ridge. They'll go with a little toss. Keeney back to the middle. He'll get to the line, maybe surge ahead for a yard or 2. Short gain there.
Really impressed with the flow of this Lone Peak defense. Getting to the ball, and everyone, you've got at least 8 hats on there, and your outside defensive backs aren't quite there yet. But great flow by the defense, and they're really missing Bob Buitolo about now.
Yeah, they are. How about the student section of Mountain Ridge has shown up tonight, far side of the field. Lone Peak with a nice student section as well. Good crowd on hand as Bingham looking. I was looking underneath for Kenny. Good coverage there from Lone Peak across the field. Really nowhere to go.
Yeah, this defensive backfield is really impressive for Lone Peak. They did a great job against Corner last week, and Corner has a lot of good players.
Yeah.
But Mountain Ridge, you don't quite know who they are coming into this game because you're like, how good is West Jordan? How good is Fremont? How good are these teams that they've played? But Mountain Ridge is coming in showing, hey, we can play with the big boys, and we can play with them as sophomores.
Well, that's what we said. This is their chance to make a statement that this team is real if they can pull off a win tonight. It's 3rd and 7 here for the Sentinels. They've had a lot of 3rd and longs tonight. They've done pretty well on them. Bingham throwing underneath, intercepted! Another interception. That's now the 4th straight possession with a pick as the deflection is able to be plucked out of the air by Lone Peak. And I think on the interception was number 43, Jalaire Aquin.
Oh my goodness, if you enjoy teeter-totters, if you enjoy high blood pressure, this is the game for you. The momentum is just shifting from that side to this side to that side to this side. 4 interceptions, I've never quite seen anything like that in this amount of time, all in the span of about 2 minutes.
Yeah. That's I'm kind of speechless. 1st down thrown out to Wild. He's able to make the catch and out of bounds. We'll stop the clock here. But
I like that play call right there.
I mean, the offense is going to get tired just from sprinting on and off the field, Moose. Not even from moving up and down, just on and off.
I'm tired watching them do that. Both defense, both offense. It kind of reminds me of BYU back in 2011. Every time there was an interception, the defense was like, it's time for us to shine. Let's go.
2nd down. Edge pressure. Blake. That one just didn't have enough on it. Into the turf, incomplete. It was intended there for Haskett.
Blake made a great read right there, though, because the nickel was coming off the edge, ditched his man, and Blake threw that ball. But you got to be so quick in those situations.
Well, it's good recognition from Haskett, right? It's like, look, you often hear attack where the pressure's coming from, right?
Yep.
It's the right read, it's the right play. Just got to get it there.
Yep.
Little
Little
Sun
Sun Tzu coming on the field right now.
Blake over the middle, and that's just a touch behind, incomplete. And so now a 4th down, and Lone Peak will have to punt as it was intended for Tom.
The punter was not quite sure if he was going on or what was going on right there. Bless the heart of number 92, Cade Daly. But this is a big punting situation for him. Make sure those quads are nice and stretched before you go out and punt.
Mountain not showing pressure here. This one high, but not a lot of distance on it. Going to take a
Mountain Ridge bounce. And
negligible hop, and we'll be down at about the 37.
So what happened right there, the drop of the ball, you want the ball to be completely flat, and you want it to be tilted so that you get a nice hit on the ball. He didn't have it completely flat, and he alligator armed it. He didn't bring the ball all the way out so he could get everything into it. His elbow was cocked a little bit, and it caused him to hit the front of the ball, which caused it to go way high in the air and get that nice backspin.
So Mountain Ridge coming out at the 37.
Yeah, Mountain Ridge coming out. Let's see what they can do.
They'll look on the ground here, trying the left side. And this was Hernandez, had that opening series. There's been Kinney in the backfield since that point. Hernandez, no gain on that carry.
Jackson Arrington did a great job coming in there, number 8. But he did a horrible job securing his chin strap, so he had to come out.
You know, you talk about the tape job on shoes. What if we start doing tape jobs on helmets, huh?
I think that's about what we need to do at this point. I've seen too many helmets on the ground.
We haven't had helmets tonight. That's been good. 2nd down. Bingham wanted to get that away quickly. Now going to pay the price. Contact coming. Gets that away. Is that catch made? Tried to toe tap. Yes, he did. They did credit the catch there.
Good.
Gain their 7.
Man, Bingham right there sitting. He's like, oh no, there's 3 guys coming. I got to get rid of this quick. And he did a good job doing that.
3rd and short here for Mountain Ridge.
It's a 3rd down crumble stop.
They'll go on the ground. Kinney, left side, trying to get to the 6, has it. Reach that ball across, and it's a 1st down after a gain of 4.
Kinney has a great football IQ, understanding where the sticks are, understanding what he needs to do, and understands how to get his job done. This Mountain Ridge team has been very impressive. I had him at number 10 in my top 10, and I think I might need to reevaluate my rankings.
Can I tell you this? Coach Mayfu, only coach in program history, the 4th, 5th year, young program. This feels like a year where they're taking that next step. I mean, this is not a team that's like, oh, well, they didn't play anyone early on. Like, no, this is a physical team. They'll bring it, as that's a nice play being brought by that Lone Peak D, as it's Andy Stice coming up with the TFL on the sack.
Yeah, this Lone Peak D, they've been running on and off. They look to be a little tired. I would be a little frustrated seeing all these hands on the hips, but they've got to get some pressure. They've got to take the bull by the horns because they're still down by 7.
Yeah, 2nd down and long after the loss on 1st down. Trying to set up the screen. Lone Peak read it that time. All sorts of problems now for Bingham as it's another negative play. And here's that Lone Peak D that we've been accustomed to over the years, Moose.
Phenomenal play by the Lone Peak D. That's the thing. You may trick them once. I have rarely seen a Lone Peak defense get tricked twice. That's the thing. We all make mistakes in life. That's okay. These guys learn. They get better. They grow. They're like, fool me once, shame on me. And that's the end of what happens.
That's right.
There
is no fool me twice. It's 3rd and 18. for Mountain Ridge. Over the middle, had a man intercepted again. Another interception. And Lone Peak with a return. It's Mayberry taking it to the 35-yard line. And Lone Peak, the offense will come out in Mountain Ridge territory.
My goodness, Jaden Mayberry coming in hot, the number 1 player with 2 interceptions. He's playing for Defensive Player of the Week in my book. Goodness gracious.
How about the 5th interception of the quarter combined? The 2nd for Mayberry. At least we had a punt in between, right? I mean, we broke the streak. It's not 5 consecutive possessions, so we got that going for us.
No, Lone Peak, they're like, we've got to make something happen. They're basically in field goal range right now.
Yep. So Blake coming on, first down. And they'll go on the ground. Wild met at the line of scrimmage, just trying to get anything he can. He'll pick up a yard.
Both of these offensive coordinators, they're like, let's not throw any more interceptions. Let's keep the ball on the ground.
Yeah.
But both of these defensive fronts are so ferocious that it's difficult to run. I mean, getting a yard here, yard there, that's great and all, but you need to get 10.
This quarter ticking away. We're approaching 2 to go here in the 3rd. Blake, and that one incomplete. Was intended there for Robinson.
Man, great play drawn up. He's going to want that one back. The hard thing is when you've seen so many interceptions, it's just getting your confidence back in. Both of these quarterbacks are very good, and they've actually had very good games. And it's been a series of unfortunate events. Lemony Snicket would be happy about this quarter for sure.
3rd and 9. Blake looking. And that was just a touch in front of his receiver, incomplete. Was looking there for Jay-Sean Mayberry. And now 4th down. Is this field goal territory for Lone Peak, Moose?
I don't know if they're going to go for the field goal. But if I was the kicker, I'd be in the coach's ear saying, come on, coach, let me do this. But it looks like they're going to be throwing it.
It looks like they're going to stay on here. 4th and 9 for Lone Peak. And the offense staying on the field here. They got to get to the Mountain Ridge 25-yard line for this drive to continue. Trying to capitalize off the turnover. Mountain Ridge thought there was movement. No whistle. Blake, pressure coming up the middle. That ball is on target, caught, and a first down. Boy, that is the most difficult throw he's had on this drive, and it's the one he nails.
Jackson Blake coming in here. What a phenomenal job by him. That's the thing I love about this kid, his grit. He may have had some problems. He may have had some interceptions. But he still is out there slinging the rock, getting it to where it needs to be.
How about when you need the play, the senior steps up and gets it for you? That one snagged out of the air. That was nearly it.
Hoffines is a good receiver. Yeah. That was I'm running this way, the ball's that way, and I still got 2 hands. Let's help our quarterback out. Let's get him some more confidence.
2nd down after a gain of about 4 on the play. How important is it that Lone Peak finds the end zone on this drive, Moose?
I think it's imperative at this point in the game.
Imperative, good word. Brooks Wild showing some imperative movements, navigating through traffic. He's got a first down.
Everyone, if you're tuning into this broadcast, you better have your thesaurus and dictionary out, because there's some words that may be thrown out that you haven't heard in a spell.
I already used quell. That's a favorite of mine, by the way. Oh. It's 1st and goal here for Lone Peak. Inside of a minute to go. Mountain Ridge showing pressure. They bring it. Blake gets rid of it. That caught and brought down immediately. Nice tackle made there. I think that was Jepson for the Sentinels.
Yeah, Trey Robinson getting a great catch, not busting it out. It's interesting. You look around the field, you can see a lot of people. I see Daryl Funk at the base of the post. That's BYU's offensive line coach. Here to watch Austin Pay and Brody Laga. Standing next to him is Austin Pay's brother.
Maybe the last play of the quarter. Blake going to keep this one, trying to get outside, turning back, and going to be brought down at the 6. And that will indeed wrap up our 3rd. A touchdown scored in the 3rd by Mountain Ridge, as they'll take a lead into the 4th quarter. You're watching Lone Peak football on KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week, presented by Heidemann and Associates and brought to you by G2G Bar, only on the Rewind Sports Network. Welcome back. I want to thank our sponsors here of KSL Sports Rewind. Heidemann Associates is a flat-rate law firm that's completely focused on you. Get a free consultation by calling 801-472-7742 or go to utah.law to find the office nearest you. Also want to thank sponsors of Lone Peak football here on the Rewind Sports Network. Walmart. Save money, live better with Walmart. Also, Smart Energy Solutions for a better future. Legacy Power, a proud sponsor of Lone Peak football here on KSL Sports Rewind. Start of the fourth quarter. Dane Stewart, Moose Bingham with you. And it's third and goal here for Lone Peak to start the fourth.
Oh.
And that one is intercepted. Boy, contact there on Blake. And you've got a pick six. This is going to go 95 yards. Mountain Ridge, another defensive score, finds the end zone. It's Tanner DeYoung with his second defensive touchdown of the night.
Tanner DeYoung says, I've got to get mine, and he did. That was way intense to watch. The interior of that offensive line opened the floodgates like Moses at the waters, and wow, that was a heck of a play by Tanner DeYoung. I think everyone was looking for a flag or something like that. There was no pursuit by the Lone Peak Knights. Tanner DeYoung could have just hung out there in the end zone or right by it for about 3 minutes.
So Mountain Ridge on here to try the point after. Looking to go up 2 possessions. Well, they are up 2 possessions. Looking to make it an even 2, and it is 31-17. The Sentinels. How about the night for the Sentinel D, Moose? We talked about, we've got an injured player here. This is for Lone Peak. This is one of the linemen for the Knights. Welcome back here. We want to thank some of our sponsors of Lone Peak football. Tile Ram. Start your remodel right with dust-free demolition. Tile Ram, a proud sponsor of Lone Peak football on KSL Sports Rewind. Also want to thank Ideal Kitchen and Bath. Do it once, do it right with Ideal Kitchen and Bath. And Tech 9. Tech happily with Tech 9, where Utah goes for custom software development. Moose, it's been a big night for this Mountain Ridge defense. We talked about the forced turnovers. Unofficially, 1, 2, 3, 4 turnovers forced by Mountain Ridge tonight. 2 have been forced by Higham, and DeYoung now with 2 defensive touchdowns to help really be the difference for this Mountain Ridge team here tonight. And the injured Lone Peak player is Fihin Mamga, a young man you were talking about. He has been a bright spot for that defensive front for Lone Peak tonight. And boy, you certainly hope he's okay. It looked like they were trying to stretch him. You hope it's just cramps, but you never know.
That's a really bad person to go down for Lone Peak right now.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in a 14-point hole. That is rough because he is the heart of your run game. You do have some great linebackers behind him that are run stuffers, but they said that was a difficult thing.
Here's one more thing on the sideline. They were looking at Jackson Blake. You asked me after the play, did you see that hit? I said, no, I did not. I was looking at other things. They're looking at him, and they're looking at his shoulder. You certainly hope that he's okay. He has taken a beating tonight multiple times where it's been hard physical hits on the Lone Peak quarterback.
The hard thing is Lone Peak has had very key players go down, including their center. And when your center goes down, that's someone that gives calls to the line. That's someone that calls out pressure. When you don't have the right call, things like that can happen, and your quarterback is in a world of hurt.
And they're still looking at Blake, so it's going to be Ike Staley time for this Lone Peak offense. Staley, the backup quarterback, will come out to lead the offense as Blake is being looked at on the sideline here for Lone Peak.
Ike Staley, just a little guy, a pedestrian, 6'5", 205 pounds, and he is a load. Big dude, has a cannon for an arm. He has the pedigree. His uncle played at BYU, Luke, and he's got some good things going for him.
Looks like it might be his night the rest of the night. Again, we won't speculate, but Ike Staley now in at quarterback for Lone Peak.
Lone Peak has taken a hurting with a lot of their key players.
Yeah.
Bob Muitolo down. You've got Monga down. You've got Blake down. You've got your center down. I'm just like, wow, this is a 16-round heavyweight fight.
And we do still have, they're still trying to work on Monga, but he's just not quite off the field enough, so they got to move him before we get the possession going. And, boy, he looks really uncomfortable. I mean, they are trying to stretch it, but he looks really uncomfortable. And, again, we don't know what it is, but that's a young man that's not feeling good tonight.
You hope it's a Charlie horse.
Yeah.
I had one of those in my sleep the other night. It was awful.
Yeah, they're brutal. Brutal. 1st and 10 here for Lone Peak. Staley on first down. Going to hand this off. I can pick up a couple there on the run.
So Ike Staley, he is a dual threat type quarterback. He has high football IQ. He does a lot of good things. He was even considered for the starting quarterback spot last year before a few things happened, but he has control of the offense with what he's trying to do.
Very familiar with it, and he's a talented kid. That ball thrown out just a step in front of his intended target. Was trying to get that out to Hoffines. Incomplete.
Very difficult to come out as a junior with your first big varsity action, where it's like, we've got to go, we've got to score in these next 2 possessions, if not get 3 scores.
It's been a 24-0 run from Mountain Ridge. And Ike Staley trying to bring Lone Peak back and stop this, as you see Mountain Ridge there getting a little too aggressive. Going to be called here on the offside.
Just a little too excited there. You got to hold your water if you're Mountain Ridge's defense, and they did a horrid job at doing that. Good job, Lone Peak. No one's jumping, though.
Yeah, we'll give them a free 5 yards, and rather than 3rd and 9, 3rd and 8, it'll be a 3rd and 3 here.
How much of the playbook is open? How confident are they in letting Ike really unload his arm here?
Yeah, we'll find out. 3rd down, Staley to throw. Looking. He's got a man wide open and just missed him. Oh, a missed opportunity. There was nobody around Jason Mayberry, and Staley just overthrew it. It'll be 4th down.
Oh, my goodness. Jason saw 6 right there.
Yeah.
He's like, I wish I was a little bit taller. I know I am a baller. Just give me the ball so I can do a holler.
That was one that ball's just 2 yards out in front. You just take a little bit off, that's in the end zone, and it's a different ball game.
And that's the hard thing. Ike Staley, he's been playing JV. He's going into varsity, and he's not used to these receivers yet. He's like, what are they like? How fast, how far do I need to throw this?
So 4th down, Lone Peak to punt. That one bobbled. It is away. Crisis averted, as this will take a bounce still in the field of play and trickling down to the 27.
That time the puncher's like, I did my job and then some. Did you see the roll? Did you see how that ball loved me? That's a great deal right there for the puncher, especially with the long snap. The interesting thing is the snap has been pretty high, and it's rainbowed in. It's not darting back to the puncher, so he has to act even quicker when the ball gets to him.
They're still working on Monga on the sideline, so don't expect to see him in this series for that Lone Peak defense. Moose, you talked about some of the players they've lost tonight. They're going to need guys to step up.
And that's part of football. Depth is your 12th man, really.
This is Kinney with Hernandez, I apologize, with the carry. We'll pick up about 3.
Hernandez Diaz, the ball carrier. Jackson Arrington with the tackle.
If you're Mountain Ridge right now, is this just you're trying to run this game down?
Well,
do you still want to be aggressive here?
I don't know how aggressive you want to be. You want the clock. Your clock's the friend right now. So wow, great run.
Oh, Jesus, how about the patience there of Hernandez? Just waiting for that right lane, and then when he picked it, boom, we're going vertical.
Great job, and now Kenny Kinney's coming in. So they've got their 1-2 punch. Kenny Kinney's been great on defense at safety, but it's been interesting to watch.
3rd and short here for this Lone Peak defense, and they jumped offside. That'll give the first down here to Mountain Ridge. But it's one of those where we talk about Hernandez coming in averaging over 6 yards a carry, and then obviously Kenny Kinney, how talented he is out of the backfield. You talk about 1-2 punch. And I know Bingham's threw some interceptions in that 3rd quarter. Find me a quarterback tonight who didn't, but he's been good.
Yeah.
So you take Bingham, who has had some great throws tonight, and pair it with that run game. This Mountain Ridge offense,
they've
got
got
some weapons.
Some noise in Region 2. I think they may even be better than Bingham High School at this point.
First down after the penalty. Bingham throwing one up, and that one did not have enough on it. Pressure was coming right at him as he was throwing that, as it falls incomplete.
Region 2 is really interesting this year with West Jordan, with Corner Canyon, who is honestly the big dog up there, with all of these different guys. So it's going to be interesting to see how Mountain Ridge shakes out in that region.
Here's the thing, though. You think about that region. You think about, obviously, Corner Canyon, right? I think everyone's favorite in Region 2. Harriman's been off to a nice start this year. You talk about Bingham being in that region. Big expectations from Bingham as Bingham takes this one ahead. And now you add Mountain Ridge to that mix. You've got a number of teams in Region 2 that are no slouches.
No. And with Corner Canyon playing tonight,
they're taking care of business, by the way, in case you were wondering.
They are taking care of business without Wilson, without Bo Tate. So they're cornered.
Yeah. 3rd and 6 here for Mountain Ridge.
Best thing Lone Peak can do is get the ball back to their offense and try to get something going. This 3rd down is imperative that they get the stop.
Yeah, it's big. Possession starting to run dry here for Lone Peak. Bingham, pressure coming. Pressure gets there. Pressure around the edge from Lone Peak, and taking him down was Tegan Towell.
Tegan Towell, great job, 6'2", 190. The senior did a great job right there. Collapsing the pocket, not just that, but the pursuit angles, and finishing the play, wrapping up. Brody Lagat is going to be a key piece for what happens here. And I like that they have 2 returners back to try to get a big return here.
Well, that's the stop the defense needed. Now can the offense take advantage of it? That snap high and just able to get rid of it. And it's angled away from where he turned. Takes a big Mountain Ridge bounce, and this is going to die inside the 5 and down to the 1. Wow.
Whoa.
That's about as good as you can do it.
He's sitting there. He's like, I planned it out just like that. And Kenny Kinney, the first time I saw him play, he was punting instead of Lagat. Kenny came up to him after and said, thank you so much for being the punter, because I can only do so much.
We do want to thank G2G Bar for sponsoring Lone Peak football, helping busy people eat well when they're on the go. Fresh, healthy, and delicious. When you eat one, you'll know G2G Bar, your go-to protein snack. Proud sponsor here for Lone Peak football. Also want to thank Crumble Cookie. We enjoyed our Crumble pregame. It was fantastic, delicious. If you need a sweet after tonight's game, you want to celebrate, check out Crumble Cookie, locations all throughout the valley. No one does it better. Lone Peak starting back at their own 1 yard line. It's going to be tough sledding here for Ike Staley in this Lone Peak offense. Ike, quick throw, that caught. And there's Mayberry taking this up to the 13-yard line, first down Lone Peak.
Mayberry just making plays per usual. Got up a little bit gingerly right there. And he's reaching down to his calf. But they've got to speed it up.
Yeah, you don't have a lot of time.
Not too much time.
Yeah, you're down to 7:50, and it's a 2-possession game here.
You don't want that 35-second clock getting down to 0 if you're Lone Peak.
Staley, he's going to take this and run. You talk about dual threat. Gets back to the line, not much more. And he'll pick up a yard.
You have to be so conscientious about the clock. You only have 3 timeouts. You've got to get your 2 possessions going. This is a big, big series for Lone Peak. you can't have the punter's foot feeling the leather on this series.
You're pretty much in you must score scenarios.
Absolutely, and going 99 yards is not an easy task for a starter, let alone a backup.
Not at all, especially with how this defense is flowing around tonight for Mountain Ridge. Edge pressure, this one away and couldn't get out of the tackle. Boy, Hoffhines did everything he could to try to pick up additional yards. He'll have to settle for 3.
So big third down here. I think it's 2-down territory between you and me.
That's the ball game, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but you can't punt it at this point because you have 2 possessions you've got to make up.
3rd down and 6 for the Knights.
It's 3rd down and 6 from their own 17-yard line for Ike Staley and Lone Peak. Staley out of the pocket, has a man wide open down the field, wide open, and it's dropped, incomplete at midfield, and it will bring up a 4th down.
Great drawn up play. They caught Samisi Kitty flat-footed. He should have had the over cloud coverage, but Mayberry is going to want that one back, and it looks like we will see the punter, much to my chagrin.
Well, I think you're hoping your defense can find something, right? They've generated 4 turnovers tonight.
Yeah, they've had a lot of
turnovers.
So,
I mean, if you can pick up a turnover, you might be better off starting at the 50 as opposed to giving them a short field. I don't mind the mindset here. You just need things to go right. Good kick here. This one high, and, boy, did that touch Kinney? I thought it might have, but players here not looking too aggressive jump on it, so apparently did not. Mountain Ridge will start at 34.
There is a flag on the play, though, down at the 35 on the opposite side of the field. The white hat's got something he's got to say. The difficult thing for Lone Peak right here is Maunga is out. So that allows running lanes to open up. It allows a lot of different things when you don't have your phenomenal nose tackle.
Yeah, personal foul here. There's a helmet-to-helmet hit going to be called on Mountain Ridge, so this is going to put them even further back. So good decision there, totally flipping the field. Now you need your defense to stand up, make a play for you.
Big time.
Yeah, we'll take a quick moment. doTERRA is a proud sponsor of Lone Peak football. doTERRA's products help athletes around the world maintain the highest level of health and wellness. Learn more about how you can up your health and wellness game at doTERRA.com.
I'd take some doTERRA Deep Blue right now.
Yeah?
I'm sore.
So Mountain Ridge starting inside their own 20. That's a big net after the punt there for Lone Peak. And this is Kinney looking right side, trying to follow that line. He'll surge ahead for a gain of 4.
They're going to be, so Mountain Ridge right here is going to be bleeding the clock as much as they possibly can. And I've seen multiple 5-minute drives. Lone Peak has to get a stop in this series and preserve the clock as much as possible and possibly get an onside kick.
You really can't give up a first down.
No.
2nd down, 6 Sentinels.
2nd down. Bingham with the one-hand snag, and it's a big lane there for Kinney surging ahead, picking up 5. It's going to be 3rd and 1.
Kinney, the ball carrier.
This is where, looks like we've got big 33 Maunga coming in. He's like, if I can give anything, I can give it right now. That's how important this down is. He came from the depths of despair to get his back on the green field. Way to go, Maunga, showing his toughness and tenacity against the Mountain Ridge Sentinels.
3rd and 1 for Mountain Ridge. On the ground, 1st down. Jesus Hernandez up to the 31.
That was a big 1st down for Jesus Hernandez. They did a great job finding the open lane and getting behind one of their tackles that I really like, Adam Hawks, the 6'6", 260-pound behemoth, put on 50 pounds of good weight. He was a tight end. It's only his 2nd year playing football, and they did something similar with Junior Sia last year, who ended up at Utah State. Mountain Ridge does a great job developing kids.
1st down, and Hernandez upended. Yeah, Coach Mayfu said he really didn't have a position last year. Like, he came out to play, but didn't quite. He just was trying to figure out where he was going to fit, and committed himself to the program, to the coaches, and 50 pounds. I mean, my jaw dropped to the turf when I heard 50 pounds in an offseason, but man, he's been a stud. And Coach Mayfield said he has been a big part of what we do up front. He's been a tone setter.
He says he's one of my favorite kids, Hawks. I've been impressed with him. I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing on Saturdays next year.
So inside of 4 to play. And now a 2nd and 10 here for Mountain Ridge. They'll stay on the ground. This is Kinney turning inside. And brought down after a short gain there by Arrington.
Solid tackle right there by Arrington. We haven't seen that explosive play from Kinney or Jesus where you're like, oh, okay, this is the big chunk yardage play. But they're getting their little ticks and tacks getting down the field in what they need to do. So it's super fun to watch these guys getting their little chunks, but not the big chunk yardage play that they've become accustomed to.
It's another 3rd down. Here for Mountain Ridge, 3rd and 9 for the Sentinels.
In all reality, this is the biggest 3rd down of the game at this point.
Yeah. And we've got whistles before. We've got a timeout being taken here by Mountain Ridge. Timeout Sentinels. We're going to stay here. Thanks some of our sponsors. Igloo Outfitters. Folks, if you're outside this Labor Day weekend, you know the cool weather's coming. Well, check out the coziest wearable sleeping bag that has you covered during those chilly days and nights. Worry no more about the weather and watch your favorite team in comfort with Igloo Outfitters. That's Igloo, I-G-L-U. Go to igloooutfitters.com and enter Rewind for $20 off. Never miss the moments with Igloo Outfitters. Also want to thank Tire Factory, Point S, no stress with Point S Tire and Auto Service. Tire Factory, Point S, and American Fork, a sponsor here of Lone Peak Football and the Rewind Sports Network.
Man, if I told you this is what the game would be, 5 interceptions for both teams, multiple defensive touchdowns, I bet you'd tell me I was crazy.
Yeah.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions for me, at least.
It's been a heck of a game tonight. Well played, been fun. 3rd and 9. Ball game potentially on the line here for Lone Peak. Bingham looking to throw, stepping up, and that is incomplete. Traffic was there, and it will force a punt here.
So here's a bit of life. Brody Legoff, phenomenal kicker, still learning how to punt, and he can either really get a hold of this or it could spell disaster.
The first punt for Mountain Ridge tonight was not the best. The second was much better. Where does it go here, right? And primetime moment for a big-time kicker.
He just had a punt that went out on the 1.
That one executed well. It will be caught cleanly out of the air, making men. No, they say he did.
His knee was down?
Yep.
Well, some fancy footwork for some non-yardage.
So Lone Peak will start at the 34. Still trailing by 2 possessions, 2:51 left.
Is that Blake down there? 16?
No. 16 is Ike.
Sorry. Blake's 4.
Yep.
My bad. I was like, oh, okay, yeah. Blake had a rough series there at the very end. That was one of the bigger hits I've seen in high school football. The crazy thing with football is everything is just one possession, 1 point, 1 play from going to a 14-point swing.
Pressure coming, set up the screen. Here's Wild trying to get blocking. That's a nice recovery by that Mountain Ridge D, as they'll limit the gain there to 7.
Looks like we've got a Mountain Ridge Sentinel on the ground, and he's back up.
Yeah, that was Brody Robbins trying to work his way to the sideline, and Will. Lone Peak, they got to hurry. That clock ticking away. 5 wide here. Everything dropping with this defense. That one over the middle, caught by Hoffines. First down, Lone Peak across midfield.
Getting a little bit of life. There's still time. They've got to push it, though. You don't have time to be so dilly-dally.
And they're pushing it here. Staley. And that pass a little too tall. Was trying to get that with Jashawn Mayberry.
You almost have to have 2 play calls, like if we get the first down here, let's go to this, and then you've got to call it so quick.
Down 10 for the Knights.
They're taking their time on this one, which the clock is stopped.
Clock is
They're
stopped.
fine. But the next one, when the next pass is caught, you better be running.
Stay 5 wide here on second down. Staley stepping up, trying to stay behind that line of scrimmage. And now he's going to run. And Staley will take this down to the 34-yard line. They're going to keep going here. I was wondering if they would use a timeout. They do not.
Quick, go.
Yeah. Oh, we had a lineman fall over, and now we finally get the stoppage. Well, it almost looked like he was cramping. Potentially, that was kind of an awkward.
You don't see that very often.
No.
Is he okay? Is that number 52, it looks like?
Well, so now they do just throw the flag. It was 52. And that was Savao. Remember, he left the game earlier, right? I think with cramps. He looks to be okay here. Or is at least still walking, moving, staying here.
He's putting it all on the field. Really impressed by this Lone Peak.
A lot of kids
team.
are for Lone Peak, right?
They've had a gauntlet the first couple games.
All right, clock moving again here. Staley stepping up and gonna go down. Boy, the pass rush gets home, led by Cole Brannon.
Here's the thing, these receivers got to get back quick. The clock is running.
Well, this is 4th down.
Yeah.
And they are going to take that time out because this is last chance.
They're having an argument about something down on the field.
Yeah, Coach Brockbank was, I don't know if he was saying maybe they kept him down longer than they could to get a spot. I'm not quite certain what the discussion is here, but there is definitely a discussion. We'll want to take one more moment, thank our sponsors. G2G makes fresh, healthy, and delicious grab-and-eat food for busy people. With all natural ingredients, no preservatives, and plenty of protein, G2G bars are perfect for anyone who needs a quick, tasty, and nutritious boost. You'll always find G2G bars in the refrigerator section, made with fresh and familiar ingredients and crafted into delicious combinations that make it fun and easy to eat healthy. No matter where your busy life takes you, thank G2G bars for their sponsorship of Lone Peak football. So coming out of this timeout, going to be 4th and 7 here for Lone Peak. Again, empty backfield for Staley.
Big play right here.
Staley looking deep over the middle into triple coverage, incomplete. Was trying to get that pass to Robinson, but boy, coverage was there. Mountain Ridge, they were dialed into number 10, and Lone Peak will turn it over on downs.
Mountain Ridge, they don't very often in the past been able to play Region 4 teams. The old Region 4, we're talking Corner, Lone Peak, AF, Skyridge. Now they're getting their chance, and they've been waiting for this their whole lives. This is a Super Bowl for them, and it has been a back-and-forth battle. I don't think the scoreboard has really indicated what a close game this was and how one or two plays really made the difference in this game.
Well, because, I mean, the phenomenal thing about it is this was 17-7, and, Mountain Ridge comes back to tie it right before the half. And then, they had the touchdown in the third quarter. It was a defensive touchdown. Like, really, both defenses played really well tonight. It's just a couple of miscues that Mountain Ridge was able to capitalize on, and that, Lone Peak didn't have those same opportunities as the game unfolded.
Yeah, and that's why you have to play the game on the field. Before the game, we were like, I think this could be a different game. Then once it's on the field, things happen. The injuries are what played the biggest part in my mind on this game. I think if Bob Muitalo's out there, that's a bit different. I think if Jackson Blake's out there for the last series, there could have been a different outcome, but really impressed with this Mountain Ridge team. Samisi Kinney, Brody Lagat, Bingham played really good. Kai Meza did phenomenal. And we're not talking about the star of the show, Taylor Higham on defense.
Yeah.
He did phenomenal.
Well, and you talk about building a program from scratch. Brand new school. Yeah, you got kids coming in, but they all coming from different places, and you're trying to build a culture and build a program. And Coach Mayfu, 5th year, This will be the biggest win in program history tonight.
Yeah.
This is a top 10 win they're going to get.
In all 5 years of the program.
Yeah.
When they started, most of the kids that came to the school were kids that couldn't play at Harriman, to be honest with you. Now there's kids at Harriman that want to come to Mountain Ridge.
Second down, they'll stay on the ground. Kinney ahead. First down, Mountain Ridge. That will do it. Lone Peak will take the timeout here, but I believe that might be their last.
Yep. Still a lot of fight, and it's a long season. Lone Peak, you're going to see them really find out who they are in these next weeks. I was not anticipating them starting 1-3, but they have a lot of games left. And what else is interesting is everyone makes the playoffs in 6A.
Well, and here's the thing, right? So they already played Corner Canyon. That was last week. They lost that game by 15. Okay, that's in the past. Next week they head to Arizona to take on Gilbert. That's a good program down there. And then they hit region play, PG, AAF, Skyridge, Lehigh, Westlake. Everything's still in front of you if you're Lone Peak.
All of those teams have gotten better, though. PG is really impressive.
We saw American Fork. American Fork is really strong. Obviously, Skyridge.
They're okay.
Happy Moose 90. Yeah. I mean, it's yeah. Look, it's still a very difficult region, even if Corner Canyon's not in there. And we got movement here, jumping across the line of scrimmage. We'll move this, but. Look, Lone Peak, you still have region still ahead of you. Like
Lehigh,
to your point, you
too.
still make the playoff. Like everything's not lost.
No, that's what's great about the playoffs. They may have an easier road than most in the playoffs too.
They will be signing their cards. Junior night tonight.
So that penalty will move it ahead. We're kind of off on the downs here. I think it's 2nd and 3, but
3rd down and 4 on the field.
They're saying 3rd down. I might have lost one.
That's all right. They'll catch up.
On the ground. And Kinney
tough run.
moving the pile. First down and more for Kinney. And we got an old-fashioned scrum. We're going to blow this thing. There it is.
Wow, letting them go, and there's a little extracurricular after the fact as well.
Well, but that's why you're supposed to blow the play dead, right?
Yeah. Wow, that was some tough running by Spacey Kinney. And that should be about the nail in the coffin in this game.
Yep, that'll do it. I think Mountain Ridge just has to run the one more play here.
Yep. That's it.
What a game for Mountain Ridge. They fall behind early. They fall down 10-0 at the end of the first, 17-7 in the second. And then the Sentinels would not allow another point. The defense was phenomenal in the second half, and Mountain Ridge gets a program statement win, 31-17, defeating Lone Peak. Moose, your final thoughts and a selection of a player of the game.
That was a great game. There were so many players that showed up and showed out tonight. Really impressed with this Mountain Ridge team because I haven't seen them play in 2 years. And they look great. Probably my player of the game. If I can't choose Brody Ligon, I'm not going to. I'll go with Taylor Higgum. Taylor Higgum, he caused 2 turnovers. He was a menace to society on the football field and had himself a phenomenal game. Congratulations, Taylor Higgum.
Well, big night for Mountain Ridge. Coach Mayfu and the Sentinel program as they get the road win and improve to 4-0. Best start in program history. Way to go, Mountain Ridge. 31-17, the Sentinels pull off the win. For Tino Psyche, Moose Bingham, my name is Dane Stewart. Thank you so much for joining us tonight for Lone Peak football here on the Rewind Sports Network and KSL Sports Rewind's Game of the Week. A reminder, you can catch the latest coverage, all the happenings throughout the state every week on KSLSports.com, and join us every Friday night as we go around the state and pick up the best games and bring you the best high school football action only on KSLSports.com. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time